Good morning. I'm John. This is the inaugural episode of what I'm going to call Bent Not Broken, my journey to do Paris Brest Paris on a recumbent. So first, why Paris Brest Paris? I think I heard about it like 20 years ago, and Boston, Montreal, Boston, and just it sounded cool. Then in 2020, maybe 2 years before that, I had started biking again. I biked a lot in grad school in the 90s. And I'd always been biking, but I biked a lot more. And I was looking for like the next cool thing to do. I tried racing. I went to the Purgatory Chasm Road Race, which happened to be the Massachusetts State Championships, and came in 21st out of 23 masters in the Cat 4 riders. So I am the 21st fastest man over 50 in Massachusetts in the year 2019. I kept up with it 2020, and I decided, like, what am I going to do? Racing, probably a little less so. Let me see what I can do in terms of distance. And so I said, let me set that year, 2019 was the last year they did Paris Brest Paris. Let me set that as the goal. If you don't know, Paris Brest Paris is the oldest bike race in the world. I think it predates, it's a year before Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and it is, the original race was from Paris to the tip of Brittany, in Brest, and all the way back again. Pastry, named after the ride. They continued it. It originally started, it was every 10 years, then it was every 5 years, 10, and then every 4 years, and it became an amateur event. Though there are pros that ride it. And it started the whole sport called audax, or randonneuring, which is what I've been doing. So it is timed events where you have to finish before a certain time, but that's it. There's no first place, second place. Everybody gets a medal. But you have to do this ride, which is 1,200 kilometers from Paris to Brest and back again within 90 hours, which is just a little over 3 days for those counting. And so it means a lot of riding. So somewhere in there, in 2021, I had a back issue and threw out my back, which turns out is not something that I did then, but something that I've been gradually doing over 20 years. So I've been working a lot on that and fixing that. But in the meantime, I was like, I'm going crazy. How do I enjoy biking again? And I'd always been interested in recumbents just from the idea of like the engineering of it. So I looked online and was interested in just exploring it, being one of those crazy guys. As my friend Ben says, the recumbent is the 5-finger shoe of cycling. So I was a little skeptical, but then I saw these bikes called Cruzbike, and I'll show you the Cruzbike now. They said it overcame a lot of the challenges people have with recumbents, that they're slower, that they are inefficient, that they can't get up hills. It's a really unique design, so I started doing that. So here's the bike. This is the Cruzbike S30, as you can see on the down tube. It is a monoshell frame made out of cast aluminum, I think. And one of the nice things is it uses all stock road bike parts. And the really hard thing is that it's what they call a mobile bottom bracket. So the chain in a lot of recumbents goes from the front where you pedal all the way to the rear wheel, and you lose a lot of efficiency because a lot of the most inefficient part is the moving parts, and the moving parts going that distance saps a lot of power. So instead, this is front wheel drive, but that also means that it's a mobile bottom bracket. So it's a little harder to ride, like they say, like riding a bike. For the Cruzbike fanatics out there, I can do another video where I detail some of the mods that I've made and some of the bike packing equipment that I've put on, including my jerry-rigged hydration scheme, as you'll see here. I'm really proud of this. I just figured out I'm using a lanyard retractor and a magnet to keep it snug and to keep it from getting thrown in my rear wheel, which is a bummer when that happens. So that's the bike. So that's an overview of the bike. I'll show you now some of my B-roll footage of me learning how to ride the bike, which took a little while. I got it in the fall of 2021, and I did some rides around the parking lot, which is what they recommend, Fred Flintstoning it with my sneakers on, and then eventually got it onto the rail trail and got one 40-mile ride in that fall. That gave me the confidence that the spring I'd be able to be on the bike again and be able to bike again. Meantime, I did a lot of PT and a lot of looking at back issues and what causes them for cyclists and for people who work at a desk all day. That I can do maybe as a separate video. But I've been able to ride on an upright bike. I've been a little scared about doing longer distances. Last year, I don't think I did more than 45 miles, but I've done 60 and 80 this year without problem. The back is fixable. However, something like a 1,200 kilometer brevet is something I'm a little hesitant to risk sort of 2 years of injury for. So back to the recumbent. So that's the bike. Let's talk about the ride. The ride is coming up in August 20th of this year. I was able to register at the beginning of the year, but I still have to qualify. To qualify, you have to do what is called a super randonneur series, which is to complete a 200K brevet, 300K, 400K, and 600K. And those are, for those in English, 125 miles, 186 miles, 256 miles. They can't all end in sixes, but it's something like that. And then, of course, 360 miles, 370. I've done last year a 200K and a 300K. Finishing the 300K made me feel like I could probably do this. I did the 200K and felt like I could do that again. But then to actually do the 300K. In each of these events, you have that moment when you're not quite sure you're going to be able to do it, or at least I have. And then a week later, I found what kicks in is what they call randonneuring, where you forget that moment and you get optimistic that you'll be able to do the next distance. The way things time out for me, I've been riding with the New England Randonneur, and so I did the 200K with them. But the 400K takes place when my son's graduation is, so I'm not going to be able to do that with them. So instead, I'm doing the 400K and then the 300K. And I'm doing the 400K in New Jersey this coming weekend. So that is exciting. And you'll see the 200K video where I said, oh my God, I don't know how I'll do this twice. But of course, it's a week later, and I'm getting a lower gearing, and I've fixed the hydration system, and I am super confident now. So wish me luck, and I'll see you on the road.